G'day and welcome to the Soar Cast. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're down in Fremantle, Western Australia, and we're interviewing a street artist. We're going to talk about his art, what this space is, and how he used a drone to capture the art. Thanks for joining the Soar Cast, where we talk about drones, manned aircraft, and satellites, and how they relate to geospatial products found on the Soar platform. Okay, well, welcome back everyone to the Soar Cast, and this is Darren. I'm here with Barry, and Barry is a street artist based in Western Australia. How you doing today, Barry?
I'm good. Yeah, great.
Yeah, good that we could catch up today. It's early on a Tuesday, and yeah, we wanted to catch up with Barry and check out his street art and get a little bit of insight on that. And of course, we use the trusty Phantom 3 standard to capture the action. So Barry, maybe you could introduce yourself. Maybe just tell us how you got into street art and tell us a little bit more about street art.
So yeah, my name's Barry. I'm 26. I was born in Derby in Western Australia, and I've been like painting and doing street art for maybe 10 years now. Started just like doing tags and graffiti around Freo, just like using pens and markers and stuff to scribble on things, and then as that kind of progressed, I got better and better and decided to move into street art and start doing like bigger stuff that's a bit more colourful, and move away from like classic graffiti style into like a more approachable form of art. So that's when I started using a roller pole instead of like spray cans. Just because you can cover a wider surface, and I like doing big scale things, and that's kind of my style at the moment. And yeah, so I started doing murals on the floor about 2 years ago, just because it was an untouched space and somewhere that hasn't like already been painted over. And so I did one in Waikam Valley, which was like a bunch of circles on the ground, and then I went even bigger than that in another spot in Waikam, just like freestyling lines with a roller pole and a paint roller. And then my friend started this initiative here in Westgate Mall, where anybody can just come and paint for free and without like fear of prosecution. So then I showed her some photos of some of the floor murals that I've done, and then she loved it and she said that I should come and do one here. And so that's when I started on this mural, and it took me about a month to complete. So there's 30 lines in this one, and each line takes about an hour and a half to complete. And I do maybe 2 to 3 lines per session, because anything longer than that and my arms start to get sore and I start to run out of energy. So I wish I could have done it all in a couple of days, but physically I can only really do 2 or 3 lines. And each line is about 4 litres of paint. And I get all my paint from a recycling centre here in Fremantle. So the paint that I use was just destined for landfill, but I decided to make some art with it instead. I like getting all my paint for free because it's pretty expensive otherwise. So a mural like this would have cost the council about $8,000, including like the labour, but I just did it for free because I believe in street art and the culture around it, and I'm really into like artist-based and artist-run initiatives. And if anybody wants to paint, just go down to 30 Paint Store in Fremantle and sign up, and then you can come down here and paint for as long as you like.
Oh, that's great, Barry. I thought maybe I'll just give a backstory about this space as you shared it with us. And so, yeah, this is Westgate Mall and sort of the central Fremantle, and this space is going to be redeveloped. So just off to our right, there's an old building here that's going to get torn down, I think you said in about 6 months, and it's going to be apartments. And that's a lot of what happens here at Fremantle is spaces get, I guess, redeveloped. But in the meantime, they kind of sit idle and they're unused, or they just get worn down. So yeah, like Barry was saying, this is totally sanctioned. So this is sanctioned by the council, and yeah, it's just a way to keep the space alive. So how do you think this changes the space? So before it was sort of blank paving and possibly a bit dirtier. So what do you think? How do you think that a mural this big going across the ground changes this space?
Yeah, so it was just grey pavement before, and now there's like 30 different colours. I think it makes it way more inviting when it's more colourful, and yeah, so it invites people to walk down this alleyway that's kind of been forgotten about here in Freo. Yeah, it just makes it a lot prettier, and like colours can like help to relax people a lot, and just like yeah, it's totally transformed this space. It was just like boring and nobody walked down here before. But yeah, since it's been painted, I've noticed like an increase in foot traffic, and people they just come down here to look at the art. They don't like, because it's a cut through. It's a shortcut. You can walk all the way through. But people have just been walking down here to look at stuff and then walk back again. And all of the comments that I've got have been super positive. Everybody's been loving it so far. They've just been like commenting on how much they like enjoy the street art, and how like just yeah, improves their day.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. And for the people that are joining us, Barry and I caught up, I think it was either over Facebook or Instagram, and I have an interest in this type of street art, photographing it from straight down. And so, Barry, I just thought I would ask, how's your exposure going? Like, what's a vehicle to get more notoriety or get more jobs or opportunities?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I've just started my own art Instagram. I think it's like marketing and management. It's like all social media based these days. So yeah, that's pretty much the way that I've been like trying to like expose my art and show it to people. It's way easier online, but also just actually doing it, just being out on the street for like extended periods of time, like working on something. Just like you meet a lot of people, and that's like the opportunity that those people have to like speak to you and ask you questions, and that's how you meet other people as well that are in the business, is just by having a paintbrush or a spray can in your hand on the street, so people can like identify you and see like the kind of things that you're into. So yeah, it's usually social media like Instagram, or just being on the street, being present and talking to people.
Yeah, I like what you said about that element of street art, is that in a way it's the community's involved, because they're there, they're giving you feedback, and
yeah,
and it's sort of a work in progress, or a living tool. One last question.
Keep them coming.
Okay. This space, maybe you can just give us a bit of insight of either your planning or your inspiration. What made you choose these? I know you said these colors are sort of random or whatever you could get, but what made you choose this geometry? So I like doing the lines because it's really simple. The lines are the width of a single roller sleeve. These are 270 millimeters. And like, I'm not like traditional like skilled artist, or like I can't sketch. I can't really draw faces or people or like buildings or anything. So I've just developed this style, which is just like single stripes with the one roller pole, and I've just been rolling with that over the past 6 months or so, just developing that style in itself. But yeah, so I've done lines
murals that are all wiggly and like just freestyle with no lines. But this one I decided to just go with straight lines because there's pavers on the ground and they act as a grid. So it's really easy to do perfect straight lines. And it's something that I'd never tried before, just going like perfectly straight. As for the geometry, I wanted to do some like letters, so I wanted to write Frio, or I wanted to like write Barry or something, but then I decided just to do Frio because it's 4 letters, nice and simple. So the stripes go horizontal for the entire length, and then in the middle where the letters are, all of the inside, like the fill of the letters, are vertical. So it's the same pattern of colours. So it's just as if the inside of the letters were turned like clockwise 90 degrees. And yeah, I like using the same colours just because like makes it a cool effect, kind of looks trippy, and like I like trippy artists like Escher. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, all good. I know I said last question. I have one more question.
That's all right.
Have you taken many drone shots of your art?
Only just recently, actually, because I never get to see what my art looks like until it's finished, until I like contact somebody who owns a drone. So I always love looking at the finished product because often it's really different to what I think it looks like. So I've taken a few. I've got my friend to take a few for me. But it took me so long to try and find somebody with a drone that wanted to come and like be proactive about it and like take some snaps. So much so that one of my murals started to fade because it was like almost 8 months in between finishing it and finding a drone pilot. But yeah, so I've taken a few. My friend took a couple of this one at midday when the shadow was like halfway through it, and they look pretty cool. But it'd be nice to like see some that are just like all the same like amount of shade. But yeah, one day I'll buy a drone because I think drones are really important to map out a space first before I go ahead and paint it, because it's nice to know exactly how big it is and what the finished product is going to look like in relation to all the other stuff that's around it. And especially when you're painting on the ground and there's buildings around, you don't get to see what the top of the buildings look like, and they could be like a colour that doesn't work with your painting, or there could be heaps of unused space that you could have incorporated into your painting as well. But yeah, I've taken a few drone shots already, but looking forward to taking a whole bunch more.
All right, well thanks Barry, and thanks for joining us for the Soar Cast, and thanks for tuning in. And that's all we have time for today. Tune in to our next Soar Cast for more discussion on geospatial products and imagery found on Soar.